First, yes. So Shoora is a Vancouver-based artist whose practice interweaves cultural identity, everyday narrative, and historical symbolism to challenge the political realities of Iran and reflect on her diasporic experience. Drawing from seemingly ordinary moments, often those censored or erased within Iranian socio-political landscape, she constructs metaphors that interrogate both the materiality and painting and the representation of the body within pictorial frame. Banafsheh, our second artist this evening, she's a visual artist, filmmaker, and educator based in Vancouver. Her multidisciplinary practice combined design expertise with the command of various media to explore the complexity of everyday life. Through her work, she examines the intersection of personal experience, political upheaval, and often overlooked undercurrents of violence that shape human existence. Tonight evening is streamed live on Facebook and is also being recorded. As I told you, we'll have question and answer session at the end. So please feel free to share your question in the chat or save them for later. Once again, thank you all for being here with us this evening. It's now my pleasure to welcome Shoora and Banafsheh to the stage. I think first we're going to have Shoora. Thank you for joining us, Shoora.
Thank you, Sanjan. Thanks for the introduction. Are you going to show the presentation?
Yes, I will share Shoora's presentation just to okay, just a second. Can you see?
Yeah.
Okay, great.
Okay.
Please let me know when you want to change the pages.
Yes, sure. Okay, before I begin, I would like to thank the Two Rivers Gallery team and Viva Alliance team for all their efforts in making this group exhibition possible. Also, thank you for inviting me to this artist talk alongside Banafsheh. It's an honor to be among all of you. Speaking about my work and what happens in the studio is not always an easy task, especially when the body as an individual exists in a different condition than the collective body of society. When the contradictions between the personal and the social intensify and the body grows distance from the mind, expression becomes even more complex, I believe. And I think these are the moments when diaspora makes the most sense. The feelings of having your body in one land while your mind and heart continues to dwell in the country you came from. Sometimes this distance grows so vast that you feel compelled to give up, letting go of the mind that belongs elsewhere and choosing instead to live fully in the body, focusing on individual concerns, if only it can be detached. So I'll select some of the paintings from the different series of the and bodies of work that I've done since I finished my master's at Emily Carr University. My practice goes way back in Iran, but I usually include these images, the painting from that year, because I feel like that my professional practice in Canada started from those works. So the paintings you're looking at is one of the paintings, a larger scale painting around about 7 by 10 feet. And the series of painting I created based on my memories in my grandparents' house in Iran, which reflect my questions about tradition, religion, and sometimes family dynamics. This is called Floating Belief, and is a snapshot of of that house. And as you see, my grandfather, who was a true believer and a religious person on the left side, and my grandmother, the opposite side, as a questioner and more avant-garde. And the person who is my uncle inside that glass garden watering the plants is my uncle, and the water is kind of leaking and eroding the base of the house or the bottom of the house on the left side. So there is a multiple layers of symbolism and also reflecting of how I felt about that past the moment in an indoor scene of my family members and next to them. Like it's kind of a nostalgia, but then through the process that nostalgia shifts and becomes something else and changes its meaning. So you can change the slide.
Sure.
At the same time, the social experience of the 2009 uprising in Iran, the Green Movement, was a powerful inspiration for this specific painting that you're looking at, Silent Eruption. They're almost the same size, the same scale. And to me, it feels like the other one is a more of an indoor scene and this one is outdoor. At that time, I was in Iran and I was among the protesters for about a month. And of course, all that protests ended by terror and silencing with gun. I have to also confess that, as all painters know, there are usually visual reasons that you want to start a painting. So the light orange pigment that I really wanted to use was one of the reasons that I kind of was thinking how I can use that color as the major background of the painting. And so these two works were kind of in dialogue at the same time, and I did them during my MFA at Emily Carr. So you can now do the next slide. So both of these works and most of the paintings in this series are accompanied by small ink and mixed media sketches that I do. The sketches come first, and then they become the start point of these larger scale paintings. On the left, and these two images are the example of those drawings that are painted with ink and mixed media. On the left is a scene depicting Ashura, which is if some of you probably know most likely what Ashura is, but if not, is the solemn day of the year for Shia Muslims who commemorate the martyrdom of Imam Hussein, the Prophet Muhammad's grandson, in 680. So my grandfather was very religious, and usually every year in their backyard, we had people come inside the backyard and then do the kind of performance there. And then on the right, the smallest sketch of the painting, you see that is the sketch for the painting, the first slide that you saw, which is called Floating Belief. And usually, that sketch, it changes when it's rescaled. I decide to add elements or remove elements, which is obvious in the process of a painting. And next slide, please. During the William and Isabel Pope presidency in 2023 at NASCAD in Halifax, I studied the bas-relief in Persepolis to learn more about their motifs and structural composition. These studies influenced the paintings in this series mostly, and as you can tell, and you see in the images on the left side, I brought an example of those bas-relief. And the repetition plays a central role in those ancient motifs. And so music and dance naturally emerge as a theme in this body of work. Two forms of expression long prohibited for women in public in Iran. In the right painting, camel and it in that and the endurance with the animal itself, which is famous for that character, and the two hump that juxtapose the two bodies are kind of, for me, like they have this in dialogue to each other with each other, and I found that. Number two and the two figure hand in hand and overlapping with the animal and would be an interesting. But then I never decide ahead of time. That happens through the process. Again, that's another. It's very obvious that the inspiration comes from those bas relief and how the figures are repeated and they are walking to one direction. Next slide, please. So, as I mentioned in the previous slide, repetition and rhythm are elements that I often return to them. And there is something about it. Maybe it's a repeated history, repeated story, or also the formal aesthetic of what you do when you're repeating one element more than one or two times, that you start getting an abstraction and more minimal form of that element. So I think that's something that I really enjoy in the process of the painting. And the more I repeat it, especially through, I think it's the fatigue, that the closer you get to the essence of the form. And in the top paint, the image on top is called Weaving the Red. It symbolizes. I mean, it's the inspiration was my grandmother who was doing that as a child, and that child labor behind the carpet weaving. But the idea goes beyond that. Again, there is a symbolism behind it for me. And the bottom one was part of the series of the bas relief paintings. And again, I think braiding hair is another symbolic act that I really like in regards to form and the meaning behind it. So you can go to the next slide again. As I said before, the idea of dance become more dynamic in the body of work that I did, and especially in the larger scale, where composition allowed me to explore color combination and light. And in this series, time and space are less anchored and the visual elements take precedence. So I have more option to choose about the color choices, the light, the negative and positive, and all those ideas, because I think that the work is moving forwards to some sort of abstraction, but again, between the body and the space in the two works. One is the smaller scale, and on the left is one of the paintings that is part of the exhibition currently at Two Rivers Gallery. So this is I think the next slide. If you please go to the next slide, I can explain more about this. The dance and the swimming, which are more like both the themes that recur and come back to my work, to my recent works. And while I'm doing that, I keep thinking that because swimming has been also public swimming is banned for women in Iran, and I grew up there for more than 30 years of my life. So I'm familiar with how it feels to have that experience. And I keep thinking, when I was doing that, I keep thinking, if we are not allowed to swim, and let the body be the water, if we are not allowed to dance, let the body become sound and movement. And while thinking about these movements in this new body of work, I explore the form of the body as it bends, folds, flies, or melts. This is the joyful part of my process, where I discover color palette, mark making, and composition that bring these ideas to life. And I think this is good time to talk about this because I've never spoken before or listened to my body as much as I do now. And I think that reflects in these new works that you can see two of them along, side by side. Maybe perhaps aging has taught me that the more I listen to my body, the better I understand my mind. And I think similarly, the more I paint, the more I understand the role of the body in my work and what keeps drawing me back to it. Um, so and I think this is what drives me move from one painting to another, one way of making to another way, and it doesn't let me to really fall into certain rules or uh, like a technique to really make a predictable aesthetic of a work. And I remember spending many years in Iran, presenting myself as a boy, and I wanted to appear stronger in a society where women were told they had no power. This I think is and was a form of protection. And my mother was strong. My father was very open-minded, but I didn't feel like my mother. Even till now, I keep reminding myself that I'm different. And not until my 30s when I began to change. And now, even though I can project a strength, maybe, I still recognize that the fear that lingers inside me. I share all this to say painting is where I find freedom. It is where I push past the stillness and silence. It is where I reclaim movement, voice, and power. And I feel like these bodies in my recent work um, are sometimes carry the energy and action that I long to express in my own body. If you can pass to the last slide. So in these last works, you see how like the form of the bodies and the space they are minimal. They're less narrative and not necessarily storytelling in the work is visible. And so how I find it is that in the earlier works about my family and grandparents, the environment is slowly merged with the figure, eroding them. And in the newer paintings, the environment distorts them. They dissolve and become part of the elements themselves. And I think the diaspora, going back to how I started, diaspora acts in a similar way. It distorts and transforms you, slowly making the past feel more distant, even forgotten. To live in the present, you must adapt, relearn, and sometimes let go of old values. This isn't always a negative process, but it can be disorienting. It can bring feeling of alienation, numbness, and sense of distance from yourself. But I think I'm lucky to have the chance to, through the painting, through art, through making, through this creative process, um, push those feelings away and bring more hope, hopefully also more hope to the work and to the process. Thanks for listening to me.
Thank you very much, Shurajan, for talking about your works. I would like to also uh, share some of your works in the gallery space. Uh, can you see?
Yes.
Okay. Sorry, I'm trying to. Okay. I'm trying to share again the pictures. Shurajan, would you like to, because we receive lots of question about these two works together, and many
Mhm.
people were interested to know about the story of this small, tiny one on the right. Would you like to share a little bit your story about this?
Yeah, I think this goes back to the woman life freedom movement. Like like in my studio when I'm studying and or sketching for a body of work, there are so many other paintings come along, and it's just way of thinking. So I cannot really say, oh, I wanna I dedicate myself to this body of work and I'll only do that. So there are so many works come along, and I think they become related in a way because I see that a dance as a way of rebel and resilience and resistance. So the same way, I think on the right side, it was based on an image that I found one of the protesters in the street who was shot later and was killed. She was only 18. And but again, if you, unfortunately, I didn't put the larger scale of that image in my presentation, but there are like shadows around and during the process, the image changed. But that has a photo reference of that image that I saw. And yeah, to me, they do the same thing. But she's holding a scarf and she's burning the scarf. And that was the image of the protest, that image that I found. And she's standing above this trash bin in the street, I believe.
Thank you very much. Thank you so much, Shurajan. Up next, we have Banafsheh. Thank you, Banafsheh, for joining us today. Before starting, I would like to share Banafsheh's video with us, and then perhaps we can join Banafsheh to talk about her work. I'm gonna just play again and share with you guys.
صداش مگه زیاد کنی؟
Is it too loud or?
Oh, there's no sound. Sandra, sorry I interrupted. Can you pause it and then play it with the sound? Because actually the music, the sound is a part of really important of this process. So
I could hear it for like a very short time. I don't know how.
Yeah, same. I could hear it too.
Okay. Would you like to try again, or would you like to talk about it first?
I would love to try it again if we can, if possible, with
Okay.
the sound. I appreciate that. Thank you.
Yeah,
Sorry.
no worries. I think it asked me to adjust something, so I'll try it again to
Thank you.
see if you can hear.
It's usually hard to do it to play a video with sound on Zoom.
Can you hear it now?
No.
Oh, it was for a second.
Sanjan, is there a button for share computer sound or share computer music when you click more on the bottom of the screen?
Sorry. Sorry. Sorry, I was not sure if you guys could hear it. Not able? Oh, my apologies. I don't know how we can share with the sound. Banafsheh, would you like to start talking about it, and then probably I can figure out how to correct this?
Maybe Banafsheh, can you try sharing the video from your screen and with the sound? Maybe try that.
Let me see. Yeah, I can try that. That would be better. Okay. How can I share my screen on Zoom?
In the middle, there is like on the right.
The green button at the bottom.
He may have to make you the host.
Is it showing?
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah, we can see your screen. Can you hear my screen or no? Cannot hear anyone, so I'm not sure.
We can hear from your end.
You can hear from my end? Okay, so I'm gonna just play that.
There we go.
صدای من میشنوی شما؟
Yes, we can.
bad.
We can hear you, Banafsheh.
And could you hear the sound for the video? Because I wasn't sure it's going to play well or...
No, it was great. You could all hear.
Good.
So all good.
Thank you so much, all of you, for your patience for the technical problem. And thank you, Ehsan and Shadi, for organizing this event and the exhibition, being alongside Shoora. So just kind of quick chat about the video and how it comes, like most of other artists. I'm always influenced by the place I'm living. Growing up in Tehran, a city back then which was very under censorship, everything was a sin, like the basic desires in life, like love, like playing music, playing dance. There was like forbidden. So this animation is very cut out, very limited. It's not too much animated, but it was it's all 2D drawing. And I decided by purpose to not be so much animated because of all the limits that the society was imposing on us. I wanted to, in technique also, to transfer that limits and that force that is, above upon us. I'm not sure how much I could. It was my first, basically, motion. I mean, I was a photographer for years, and then I joined. I started working with late Abbas Kiarostami filmmaking, and this was my first motion independently. And I really enjoyed the process because I didn't feel myself being in the frame of a video making or filmmakers, mostly to just draw myself whatever I imagined for that story and giving a spirit, a movement, and a life, basically.
Thank you, Banafsheh. Could you tell us? I think the video have been screened in a couple of festivals. Is that right?
Yes, it was nominated at Cannes Film Festival, the short film session. So 10 film was nominated for short films, and one of them was The Forbidden Tree. It has been to so many other festivals as well, like London Illustration Festival, the Paris Short Film, Halloween Festival, Berlin Film Festival. It had its own period of the festivals and had kind of huge success rate.
Okay, thank you very much. I think we can it's the end of session, and I think we can have a question. Any question in the chat?
I have a question. I'm new to the study of Iranian Persian art. So I'm a little bit stupid here. But there was the Persian art, and then Islamic totally changed the rules to art. And the contemporary art I see here, is there a progression, or I don't see the progression. Are you guys doing something just absolutely totally new, or do you feel like you're drawing on Persian, Iranian, whatever, ethos?
Is it from me or from Shoora, the question, or both of us?
I'm sorry?
Is the question from me or Shoora or both of us?
Both of you.
Both of you. So for me, I decided to not choose a very Persian style because one of the things was my family lives in Iran, and I didn't want to give it a place or nor a time for this animation. Basically, for me, it was a no place, no time. And I decided to go with a style that can be happening anytime, anywhere. If I wanted to do it specifically, because while I was drawing it, it was Iran, but also the fear, if, this doesn't go to the, taste frame of those who are watching it, it could cause my family an issue. So I decided not to do that. It was on purpose to not be very Persian or any specific country, basically. But for sure, she can speak herself.
Yeah, that's a great question. I think this Eurocentric, or like maybe there is something in the academia in Iran and the institution in Iran that is not based on the traditional or Persian idea of Persian miniature. That idea or that history is kind of not a norm in the institution in Iran anymore, and it's very Western. I think the idea of Western visual aesthetic or visual knowledge is in Iran as well, the same as all the universities around the world. So the way we learn about the art history in Europe or history of America or like
Modern art.
Modern art is actually more than it's taught more than the Persian miniature or like ancient art in Iran. So that's why, like, what I learned, like my education was based on observational realism, like kind of realism, and like in the painting and drawing based. So to answer your question is like the whole idea of modern or contemporary art in Iran is very like worldwide. Like I think it's very Eurocentric in a way, if you wanna call it Eurocentric. But there are artists that they choose to have some elements of like any kind of older visual arts in Iran. But I think Mariam can answer this question maybe better than me. But it's your choice. Like you can choose to have those elements or just do whatever, like any kind of artwork that you want. The same as what happens in the contemporary art in North America or other parts.
I'm going to be a troublemaker, but is your Persian soul in your art, or do you feel a disconnect?
Uh, it depends what you call Persian. So, because when I live in Iran, I learn a lot about outside Iran. I learn about like art history of Europe. So, and then I also learn about my culture. I am Iranian, but I think they are intertwined. I don't see a border between these anymore. And I don't really push that to be in my work. So I think if it is, if it's in me, it is there. If not, maybe it's part of my immigrant experience, being an immigrant in here, or all the ideas of not knowing where you're going. You need to, as I said, you need to unlearn, you need to relearn, you need to forget about so many things in your country back home, and then you have to relearn and be in the present as well. So that dialogue comes to the work too. But I think in even if you see my work that I did in Iran, you wouldn't call it Persian maybe per se. Like I don't think you would think, oh, this is an Iranian artist who has done this kind of painting. And I'm not saying like so many of my friends in Iran are the same. So yeah.
But I want to add something to that. I think the question, if the Persian soul, it's a bit like unfair because no matter what we do, I'm Persian, she's Persian, we all like all like maybe the style change, maybe it become abstract, become modern, become avant-garde, maybe the film work, maybe I do a photography, a painting, or a video. But at the end of the day, we are all Persian, and the root is still there. Those experiences, those challenges, the material, the shape may change, but it's going to be there. Even if we try to remove it, it would not be possible. For most of us that we grow up there, we get shaped there with that culture, without all those restrictions. Art is also still a form of healing for us. It's our connection with the new world and the world we left behind, which is still part of our body and is still there, deeply in our soul. I think being still far away from it, the love is going to be there and the connection is going to be there. So the Persian soul will be always in our work, no matter what is the style and the shape of it. But what I believe. So
right. Can I add one more thing? Because I think this is a great question. So if we have time, I would like to add something. I also think this question is great because this is something that I keep asking. Like I ask myself every single day when I go to the studio. I'm not saying that I ask, is it Persian or Iranian, or is my soul there? But I keep asking, who am I, and if I am in the work. And I think art is all these questions, and the way a writer writes, or the way we think, it is, I think, and maybe the artwork is the answer of all these existential questions that we ask every single day. Maybe as an immigrant, there are more questions because you need to keep thinking about the present, but then there are so many things from the past. There are so many things from right now that happens in Iran, and then our body is not there, but our mind is there, and it's so hard not to really deal with this battle, because you cannot do, it's not a lived experience. You cannot do anything with your body. When you live there, you are living that life. But when you're far, it's so hard to really be present in this country, like in this moment right now. So I think this is a great question, because this is something that I keep asking myself too. What is in the work from me, from my past, from my culture? How much of that exists there? But at the same time, I like to change. I like to let that change come to the work too. So to keep it fresh. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Bart, and thank you very much, Shoora and Banafsheh. Any other question? Yes, Mariam Jan, yes, please.
Hi everyone. Hi Ehsan June. Hi Shabnam and Shura. It was so lovely to hear. I realized we've worked together. We've spoken a lot, but I realized I have actually never like sat down and quietly listened while you guys describe your own work for a full block. So it was actually really, really remarkable to listen to it. Um, and that soundtrack is so important. I'm so happy that we got to hear it. It was like key and it's so beautiful. My partner was making pizza in the background and he just kept on coming over and peeking and he's like, "This soundtrack is so good. The sound is so good." Anyway, I have a couple of questions for Shura. I'll stop after the first one. If somebody else has a question, I'll stop. So forgive me if I'm asking something that you explained because in the middle of your talk, my sound went berserk. So forgive me if you've already explained it. The shadows, the recurring shadows and the barriers, the translucent barriers and shadows that keep on recurring in all of your bodies of work. Um, I wanted to see if, in case you haven't spoken about it in your talk, if you wanted to say something about that recurring motif that's literally in every series that you produce. Is it like this whole idea, this dichotomy that your mind is somewhere, but your body's somewhere else, or reconciling? Or is it the dualities of our lives, things that we never share, things that we're not allowed to say? The whole segregation that we have all experienced in Iran, like what does it capture, the shadows and these translucent barriers that come up in your works?
Um, are you asking about this? What can you explain? What do you mean by shadows?
The figures that are always not there, but their shadows are there. There are
Right.
absent figures or
Yeah.
shadows that may be shadows of figures that are
Mm-hmm.
present in your
Mm-hmm.
position, but
Mm-hmm.
they're larger or different or doing something other than what the figure is doing.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
That's a very recurring thing that I've noticed you do a lot.
Oh, that's interesting. I'm not aware of that. Like I don't think I do it on purpose. It comes during the process, but I know that I really like the backlit um like stage. Like when there's a light behind a figure and then you have a hard time to see what's happening in this foreground or what does the character look like. And and I think maybe distortion or mark making in the distortion maybe comes from there too. Like it's, but I believe, I think maybe it has something to do with the previous, with the other question. I think it's the challenge of me knowing who I am and what I'm doing, like with the social life and private life I've had in Iran, and then as an immigrant coming to this new destination and going through migration, which is extremely difficult. And it's interesting because I feel like the longer I live as an immigrant, the more difficult I find it. I don't know, maybe it's in the beginning, it's different because you are fresh, you are so eager to learn and know this new country and new culture, all the people around you. But then after like over, I think it's about 14, 15 years that I live in Canada, I still find it strange to live uh, and know exactly what you're doing as a major part of the society. But like I don't know. Like I think all the things you mentioned is in the work, in probably it's there, but
Yeah,
I
the
think
dichotomy
I
of
think maybe
private.
yeah, more it's a question of
Mm.
what is the body, like what are we doing, like what am I doing in my life, and so that's why maybe the figures don't have a specific character. They don't. They are bodies. There are figures. There are portraits there, but they're not a specific person that I can mention other than the ones that are from my family members. But even there, I don't capture it completely. So it's just because I lost so many of them, first of all, and
Mm.
that distance, you forget, you have to remember, and it's hard to remember. So,
Yeah,
yeah.
it's such a haunting quality, this whole idea of searching, and there's so much of a soul, so much of a person that is not describable, that is not capturable, but like it's haunting your canvas. It's there, it's present, you're acknowledging it, but you can't pin it down. And that's somehow the shadows always are bigger. They're uncatchable because nobody actually holds them and pins them down to a meaning, and they're sort of free to roam and grow. And it's kind of like really interesting. I'll stop if somebody else has a question. Otherwise, I can ask another one.
I have a question for Banafsheh.
Yes.
So your story, your short film tell us a universal story, full of allegory and full of allegory and symbolism, and of course these two literary terms are a big part of Iranian literature. I just want to know how much have you been inspired by Persian or Iranian literature in making this short?
Actually, that's a very good question. The first time I came with the idea about this short film was this very, I don't remember the poem, but it was my dad wrote me a poem of Hafiz, which was about a tree of life. And I get, I keep thinking about that tree, the tree of life, and the poem had a really impact back then on me. Which at the very end of this video, you can see that that tree is basically one of the main elements of the video. Both those couple that fall in love, they get fastened in the tree, they pass away, and the tree becomes source of hope, which gives the apple of love and, the life for the next generation. So there is a hope that this dictatorship, this suppression and censorship wouldn't last forever. And that tree is the one that will grow again. If I answered your question.
No, that's fine. Yeah, I got the answer. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Banafsheh. Mariam, do you have a question?
I have a general question. I think both of you. I'm always afraid to ask artists this question, especially those people who paint and draw, because I don't. I don't do either. I study paintings and drawings. My partner a few minutes ago said something along the lines of a programmer's work is never complete. It can never be completed and it can be stopped. And I feel like this is something that, especially with Shoора's work, I've always it's fascinated me. There is always pieces that could be construed as unfinished. There's a translucency, a vulnerability, a transparency, parts that you're not sure, is it a part of the composition? Is it finished? And I feel Banafsheh Jun, you have this, Shabnam Jun, you have this a lot too. In Banafsheh Jun, in your drawings are kind of unfinished, and there's like a lot of vulnerability and translucency in your drawings and paintings, both of you. And I kind of wonder if it's, when do you decide it's finished? Like, does it tell you? I've always wondered this about people who especially have different levels of completion in different parts of their canvas or drawings. Like, does it tell you it's finished, or do you decide this is where I leave a little bit of vulnerability in my composition?
It's never ending process, actually. Yeah. I have some paintings, not in this work, but I have some paintings that I kept working. At the end of, I put like a black, paint on the canvas. And I was like, okay, this is it. I just damaged it. So, but I learned it, my process was that I learned there is a moment that, sometimes in a painting when I'm working, it's like I have done 5 paintings completely, but I kept working, and then something really different, and probably I wasn't happy with it, and I just start from scratch. So I think this is a process for all the artists, that we came with this experience to stop and then continue, the finishing to another canvas. And there's never a finishing, and that this is why we just keep producing, because there's really no end to it. There's always something that you feel that you can explore more, you can do more, you can add more, or there's some point I say, okay, this is for this frame, this is, I'm gonna stop and then I'm gonna continue on the next.
Yeah, I agree. I think it also depends on me, myself too. Like if I'm in a phase of questioning myself a lot, like not only about my work, like overall in general in my life, which happens a lot. I think I question my painting a lot, and I go back to the past works. If it sit next to me and I can see them, I may go back to them again and again. After like a few years, I may pull out the painting and then rework or just add things on it. But I think there is a moment that I find there is a depth in the surface of the painting, like in terms of tonal composition specifically, or specific color, like arrangement, that I feel like, oh, now this is how they're having this dialogue that I want. But sometimes it happens quick, and when it happens quick, I find it's like a drawing to me. I don't know, it's my maybe thinking process or idea of what is painting, what is drawing. But when a painting just happens and it finishes fast, I find it, oh, this to me is like as fresh as a drawing. But when I go back to it, or it takes time for me to really resolve it. And I keep making a question in it, and then I have to answer. Or we make a problem, and then you have to fix it. So I think it is in a way reflecting your life. So
I want to add something. Sometimes the painting itself tell you it's enough.
Mm-hmm.
And then you feel
like writing.
It's kind of poetic too, because sometimes the frame tells you, the canvas tells you, okay, this is enough. Just keep going. So it finishes itself.
Right.
It's a mutual, relationship.
Fascinating.
Very engaging, and I love this conversation. Thank you, everyone. I have a question, maybe the last question, maybe for Shoora. So generally, the theme of this exhibition was resistance and resilience. And after a year of collaboration with Shadi and Mariam, so this is a result of a year of collaboration. I have a question for Shoora, which is, memory, as I realize, is a big part of your works. How would you describe your work in terms of correlating memory and resilience?
Mm-hmm.
That's true.
Interesting. I don't know about my current work, how memory is assisting me or come to the work. But in the past, I think that repetition of going back to a memory and making it your own, changing it or editing in a way you want it, which painting process does. So there are solid areas in my work. Like there are moments that are sharp and very clear, and there are moments that are unclear, same as a memory. But I think the idea of returning to something that is there, but you can make it better. Like even though it wasn't a happy memory, even though if it's not a past that you necessarily wanted it or not, but you can bring it to the work, you can bring it to the present and make it your own and change it the way you want. So I think that has a lot to do with resilience and giving the power to it. adding the layers in the painting to make it not necessarily in a literal way, but even with these visual elements, you make it the way you want. Or sometimes you just do whatever you want. You want to imagine that you want happen in the world, you just do it in the painting. So I think, yeah, maybe one of the reason sometimes I'm between observation, working from this only observation, or just like shifting to the memory, is that idea of memory that you can do whatever you want, you can mold it. Yeah. Thank you, Asa.
Thank you very much, Shoora. I have no other question, and I don't see any other question. Anything to add? Any other question? Any final thoughts?
I am curious about the first question. I think Bart asked. Can I ask something? Like I'm just curious, what did you expect of a Persian art?
Well, where this is coming from is my art is a foundational Christian.
Mm-hmm.
When I take Christian symbolism and I question it, and I bring my own experience, and I'm an academician. I was a professor, whatever,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
and I question it, and I'm using that with art to embrace and challenge. And I fell in love with Persian art. I went to I was in Indonesia, Jakarta, and there was an exhibition of Persian art. I just fell in love with it. And it's just so beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't see those elements in the contemporary.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's where that question is coming from.
Yeah.
Is my Christian soul is in my art.
Right.
Beautiful Persian legacy is there.
Yeah, but yet the thing is, I always think about the society, how complex is Iran. Like I mean, you can see it from afar, like all the politics and what's happening right now.
Yeah.
But even when you live there, there are so many contrasts and contradiction and complexities that it's far, like it's so distant sometimes from those beautiful, calm, colorful Persian miniatures. I always admire them, and I think there are so many things to go back to them and bring them, and like there are many artists doing that. But I think there is also a lot of things happening that are distance because of all the things that happened from that history to till now. So yeah.
I have a question too from Bart. Actually, continuing this topic. So, for you, is Matisse a Persian artist?
I'm sorry, who?
Matisse.
Matisse, yeah.
Matisse?
Yeah.
Is Matisse a Persian artist?
Because he took the Persian miniature and just changed it completely like, to modern art.
I wasn't aware of that.
Yeah.
He's actually he took the Persian miniature, the traditional, and just developed it to what you see from his work.
Oh.
So if the elements is something that make an artist to belong to a specific group of society, like Gauguin took from African, right, or Picasso. I mean, there's always has been this exchange around the world, like between artists and traveling and getting to know another culture. So is the element for you is making the artists to where they belong?
Is the element making the artists where they belong?
Yes.
Or yeah, like Oriental period, like similar to Orientalism, right?
Not only Oriental, like you see works from Gauguin or Picasso or Matisse, like these are from the classic, the new modern artists, right, painters. But the exchange has been always there. the exchange between artists and different, cultures and society. Like I came to Canada and get to know Indigenous artists, and some of my new works actually is really influenced by their work. But am I an Indigenous artist or am I a Persian artist? So if the elements or if the inspiration come to my work, I think my roots still would be the Persian, but at some point art has no border, the exchange will, keep going and continue. We always get, influenced by each other. I came to Canada, I learned a lot of things. I go to Europe and learn some other things. We travel, we go to museum, they're all just university, each of them by itself. So
this is super fascinating, but I wonder if that's, sorry, I'm interjecting. I wonder if that's what Bart was getting at. Yeah, as you're like Van Gogh got really influenced by what they called then Oriental art, and Gauguin did like flatten his works, and it was very much influenced by Gauguin was Matisse was by Persian miniature, and Gauguin from Tahiti, and so on and so forth. But I think I don't know, correct me if I'm wrong, Bart, but what I think he meant about is your Persian soul in it is how much of that socio-political situation that you navigated actually translated into your canvas. I think, obviously we're all hybrids. Shoora started her talk with, the diasporic experience and so on and so forth, and how we're all like hybrids of influence. Like you guys had your education here, lived in Iran. There's, you're a product of all the cultures you've experienced, and that's what goes on to your work. But I think, I don't know, I think he meant how much of that experience has influenced your subject matter. Am I wrong?
Yeah, so I have a lot of Persians in my circle of friends, and they are in Canada because they are rejecting much of Persia, of Iran. Some of them refuse to be called, hate to be called Iranians. They call themselves Persians. But as soon as a crisis goes over there, their hearts just are so Persian, and I have a friend who's rejecting Iran. Yet when I close down here, she's given me food, some traditional Iranian food I'm going to have for dinner tonight, because it's
good for you.
because it's in her heart, and I'm looking for that heart, that Persian heart that I see you resisting.
Oh, we are not. I'm not. Like, I'm really proud Iranian, and I love Iran. And I can tell you, every remembered fracture that come from the past become a thread that I wave back to a stronger fabric. They would never go away. Like, this is part of my being, and it's kind of woven into my body. And there's no way that I would cut that or remove that. It will change organically as I grow and I change. I'm not the person I was before this meeting. This meeting gave me a lot of new stuff. I met you, I met Shoora, I met new people, and it has impacted my growth. So I would be never the same person, but every memory would be back, stay there.
I think this conversation can go long, but I also think that when I was in Iran, I was fighting to change myself to so many other things. Like, you fight to change some of the cultures that are there because of the wrong history, the system, the regime that is throughout all, it's 46 years is long. So it's changing the culture. we try to fight with that, with some of the wrong thing in that culture. It's not always beautiful, and I can tell, like, till like long, like I don't know how long, maybe till my 20s, I didn't like Persian miniature. I couldn't appreciate that, the beauty of it, or whatever it was, because it wasn't there wasn't that connection between me. There wasn't my life and that aesthetic of a formal aesthetic of the Persian miniatures. And there are so many other painters like Kamal al-Mulk, and all the students of Kamal al-Mulk who moved to Europe, studied there, came back. They changed the painting history in Iran. So like what we know about Iran is only that Persian miniature, but there are so many different avenues that not many people know of. Yeah, and there are influence of Russian art, there are influence of European art. So I think it's a combination of all that. But to be honest, I love being an Iranian, but when I was inside Iran, and even right now, I still want to change some of the wrong thing in my culture, and I'm proud of that. I'm not saying I'm blind. Like I accept all the things in my culture or Persian heritage. So yeah, but that was a great question, because I feel like I can think about it all the time, right, after this conversation.
Okay, thank you very much, everyone, for joining us this evening. It was a lovely conversation, and of course, it could be continued for ages. Thank you again, everyone, for joining us. So if you have not checked this exhibition, this Sunday is the last day. Check it out, and thanks again for joining us. Have a wonderful evening, and again, thanks everyone for joining us. Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you. Thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye. Thanks.